All right, everyone, here we go. Welcome back to the interview series of Follow Your Dreams. This is Brad with More Coaching. And today I have a very dear friend, Eva Medilek, on with me. And let me give you a quick introduction. Eva is a certified high performance coach. She is an international speaker, a #1 best-selling author, and a cultural inclusivity trainer. I actually have a friend that does diversity training. He was my very first mentor. So #1, thank you for being here. We just had a awesome conversation before the interview. So thank
Yeah,
you
we
for
should have
that as well.
recorded that one too.
You should have told
That
me.
was fun.
There are certain things that will never be said again. So tell us really quickly, Eva, what you do in sort of layman's terms, so everyone can just kind of get a really quick bite of what you do and why it's so important to you.
You know, have you noticed lately, anybody you ask, how are you doing today? How are you doing today? You hear good, but busy, good, but busy. And perhaps you probably said that like, hey, Brad, how you doing? Good, really busy. Well, I help busy people advance their careers without sacrificing their health, their well-being, or their relationships in the process, because what ultimately comes with busy is stress, overwhelm, exhaustion, and then we don't have time for the things that really are important to us, the things that matter most.
So what I hear you saying is you help people find balance.
I help people create balance.
Create balance, not
You
find.
don't find balance, you create it.
Oh, I
You
love
see,
that. I love that.
balance is personal.
Yeah.
And it's different for everyone. And, when you think of a scale that is perfectly balanced, what's the number on the scale?
0.
Exactly.
What? I got it right.
You did. But that's exactly what happens when we try to balance perfectly our professional life and our personal life. We zero out the results. So when you look at balance as something you create, and that looks like this, that scale is always moving. There are times when I need to focus here and not feel guilty about it. And there are times I need to focus here. But when we stress ourselves out trying to give equal time to everything and everybody, and our long to-do list still needs to get done, that's when we stressed and burnt out and overwhelmed comes into our lives.
Wow, I'm actually working with a client that's doing that, that's going through that right now. So I love that. I'm so glad you said that because now I get to share that with her. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, let's do this. Let's dive into the questions. So the next question that I have for you is, what are the daily practices that you do to set yourself up for success? And then I've got a follow-up for that.
Well, the #1 thing that I feel sets the tone for success is to have a morning routine. Morning routine wipes out 20% of the stress of your day and sets you up for success, basically. So I have a morning routine. Another thing I do is, well, let me say this to you. Have you ever seen a NASCAR race or the Indy 500?
Yes.
Or any kind of car race, right?
Yeah.
Where those drivers are racing at these dangerously high speeds, trying to win the race and finish without crashing and burning. And I remember I used to see the lead driver, right, pull off and stop for a pit stop. And I would think, if he stops now, everybody's going to go past him and he's going to lose the race. Like, why would he stop now? But those drivers know that taking a pit stop is necessary to continue to race at peak or high performance, if you will, without breaking down. And most of us are racing nonstop, trying to do everything that we can to advance our careers and get ahead because we're afraid that if we stop, we're going to fall behind and lose. And so what I do to set myself up to win the day is I take strategic resets in my day, or pit stops, if you will. And I don't work more than 50 to 60 minutes on any given task before I'm taking a 5 to 10 minute reset break throughout my day. And that gives me the energy that I need to finish the day as strong as I started the day. And the other thing I do is I eat specifically for fuel and recovery. I don't eat to satisfy hunger. I'm proactive in my eating so that I can, I don't know if you've ever had a conversation with a hangry person, but most of the time it doesn't go well. Or when you're hangry and somebody asks for one more thing from you, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so, most of us eat as a reaction to hunger or boredom. There's a couple of reasons for that, but that's not my area of expertise. But I have learned to eat for fuel and recovery for my health so that I have the energy I need to end the day as strong as I began it.
That's awesome. So thank you for that. So two questions. One is, how do you define success for you? And how can we offer somebody who's just either realizing that, hey, I have this dream that I've put aside for so long, and maybe it's time that I start taking a look at that. I can maybe dust it off and see if this is still meant for me. How can we offer them something, whether it's advice or steps or something, to help them understand that sometimes, like for me, living my dream and my purpose doesn't always feel like super amazing. Sometimes it feels really challenging.
Mhm,
Like today, for example, I was like, I am not feeling inspired to do these interviews today. And
mhm.
as much as I hate to say that out loud, I went ahead and, my first mentor, my first coach said this phrase, which was, so what? And I took that and I took it to heart and I said, okay, I declared that I'm going to do this. And so I'm going to do this interview. And you know what? I did that first interview. It went so well. And I got off the interview and I said, huh, so what? So how do you define success, and how can we offer somebody something that can help them as they're on their journey to realize it doesn't always feel like rainbows and unicorns?
Well, I'm going to answer your second question first,
Okay.
because I speak to this a lot. Our feelings are sabotaging our success. Our feelings are not always aligned with what's best for us. It's action before feelings. So you look at the vision, you look at the goal, you look at your priorities. First of all, you've got to be clear on what you want and what makes it happy. And then you've got to be clear on what your priorities are, because studies show that when you don't have clear priorities, you're actually up to 30 times more likely to miss out on success. And then you've got to set boundaries to protect your goals and your priorities and your values. So when you don't feel like it, you've got to look at the vision, the goal, what you want to create, and ask yourself, is this action going to move me closer to my vision, my goal, my values, or pull me further away? And so it's the action that comes first. And the more you do it and then you celebrate, I think celebration is huge for you to get out of that feeling of not feeling like doing it. Like, okay, I did it. Yes, one interview in the books. Next. And then your energy is going to start to match your vision and your goals. And so the first one, the question that you asked me was me defining success. I define success as my level of vibrancy, happiness, fulfillment, health, and contribution, making an impact. How am I making an impact in the world? And that's for me personally. Yeah, there's a financial success because, I can help more people when I make more money. I can do more things. I can contribute at a greater level.
Right.
And so there's that, but I don't put, like, for some people, $50,000 a year is enough for them to be happy and successful and do what they need to do. And for someone else, it may be $500,000 and somebody else $1 million. My point is, when I have the energy, mental energy, emotional energy and stamina and physical energy to have the freedom that I want to do, what I want, when I want, how I want. For me, that's success. And it really boils down to the freedom to feel great about who I am and what I do.
I love that. One of the things that really started to resonate with me just this year was the word freedom, and not giving up my power to someone that would be able to control what I'm able to do or not do.
Mm.
So I love that you're speaking into the topic of freedom. It's so important. We think that we have all this freedom in this country, but really we have this much freedom to make choices within this box. And that's why, following your dreams and creating your own vision, I think is so important for people, especially for people that maybe they never even had a dream, maybe they never even knew they could have a dream. And
Mm.
now they're starting to wake up and realize that there's so much more available to them.
Yeah, when we're threatened with losing life as we know it, in the way the past 2 years have had that cloud of, uh, COVID and other things, we start to reevaluate our priorities and our vision. And for a lot of people, that started to look different with the onset of the pandemic. Yeah.
Yeah, I know for me, and I'll ask you this, I was 52 when I realized that I had let go of my vision from when I was 14, because I knew that I wanted to help people when I was 14. I just didn't know what that looked like.
Mhm.
And then, as life will do, as you know, life will life, and it didn't come back to me until several years ago,
Mhm.
and I knew with every cell of my body what I wanted to do. And so when you
Mhm.
talk about our feelings getting in the way, that resonated so much for me. Is like, even as we continue our own growth, self-development, um, we still just work through layers of that.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like that worthiness conversation. It doesn't matter what level of success you have. If you want to level up, there's another worthiness conversation coming up. Whether
Yeah.
you're a kid at McDonald's who wants to start his own car repair business, or if you're Oprah and you want to start a new broadcast network, there's a worthiness conversation that comes up no matter where you are in life. And so, for people that are watching, just know that that conversation is going to come up for you with yourself.
Yeah. Well, we have a lot of fear. And, one of the things is to be really aware of what the fear is. There's you know, fear of the process, that the process might be too hard. You know, there's fear of loss. Like, what would I have to give up in order to get from there to here?
Oh,
There's fear of the outcome. What if I go after this dream or goal and it's not as rosy as I thought it would
I
be?
know, right?
So there's all things. And then and I'll add another fear, that a lot of us, I was well into my 50s before, I realized that I wanted and needed to be an entrepreneur for my own freedom. But there's also that fear of being seen playing small, starting out, being a newbie.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got your fear of making mistakes, fear of what others might think. There's all kinds of fear.
All
And
of them.
yeah, it's all the feels. And I'm not saying, when I say your feelings are sabotaging your success, I'm not telling you to stuff your fears, your feelings, ignore them. No, 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 no. We get to be all up in them and feel them and process them, but don't let them stop us from the vision that we have, and take the action. And as you take more action and you get closer to it, some of those fears and feelings will drop away. Some of them are like weeds, the roots are still in there and you may not see them pop up. Those dandelions aren't popping up right now, but as soon as the ground thaws, boop, here they come again. And then you've got to, get your weed whacker out again and, continue to be in the work so that you can continue moving forward. with your vision. And, you know, it's interesting, you and I both went through the same leadership development program, and I was working as a dental hygienist, wondering, you know, am I going to have to do this for the rest of my life? How am I going to do this? What's going to happen? I need to find something else to do. And I was also doing real estate too, and I love real estate for my financial freedom, but it wasn't giving me the soul pleasure that I liked, that really lights me up. And so real estate is a means for me to get to do what I love to do. And I had to go through a lot of different layers and processes and feelings and trial and error to come to 2022 doing what I absolutely love. Still not perfect at it, and that'll never happen, but still evolving into more things and more nuanced ways that I can do what I do and have an impact. Because right now it's about having an impact. It used to be about making money so that I can have a freedom life, but now it's just like that vision has changed to really creating more of an impact in my life and inspiring people to make impacts in theirs.
I think that's so important that you said that. So thank you for saying that, is that the vision will change, you know, and we get to change with that. And I love that you went from a financial aspect to, you know, what kind of impact are you going to leave on the world?
Mm-hmm.
So that actually brings me to an extra question. How would you like to be remembered after you're gone? What would you like to have been your biggest gift to the world?
Right now, with the work that I'm doing with creating safe and culturally inclusive spaces, it's part of the legacy that I want to live, that I taught people how to have these conversations and create atmospheres around them in their lives and business where people were free to be who they are, excuse me. And the conversation created that safety. Nobody had to shrink, nobody had to hide, nobody had to, you know, as Archie Bunker would say, stifle themselves for fear of hurting someone's feelings. You know, so often, you know, being in its Black body and being raised by a man who grew up in Jim Crow South, we were all so often in a lot of homes of Black families. We knew the danger of making a white person uncomfortable, a white-bodied person uncomfortable, and how dangerous that could be. So that's kind of woven into the fabric of our DNA, and it squelches our freedom. Don't say, I heard a lot of times, don't say anything, just let it go. Don't make anybody upset. And you kind of grow up with that woven into your DNA. And so to get to a point of adulthood, and that still creeps up, you know, you don't want to offend anybody. However, teaching people the skill of calling them forth and what they may be saying that is not inclusive or safe is a skill. It's not like, you know, what you said was wrong, what you said was racist, what you said was a microaggression. There's a way to have a conversation to say, you know, to turn it into a teaching moment to where the person doesn't feel shame, blamed, or guilted, because a lot of these are done without full knowledge of what those words mean.
Right.
But I want to help people have that skill of generous, inclusive listening, so that our conversations are more healing and collaborative and solution-based than combative and defensive. That's really the mark I want to leave.
Right. I love that. And I fully believe that you're already doing that, you know, with our conversation. And, you know, before the interview, I completely get that from you, and I fully believe that you're going to be creating that.
I hope so. That's the plan. As my daughter used to say when she was younger, what's the plan? Why are we here? You know, when you got those snarky teenagers, I'm like, well, that's the plan. That's why I'm here. Finally figured that out.
Excellent. Well, let me do one last question, and then what I'd like for you to do is to let everybody know how they can get a hold of you, any special promotions or offers, whether it's to work with you as a, on a coaching basis or speaking engagement or whatever it might be.
Mhm.
I want to make sure that you have an opportunity to put that out there for people so they can get a hold of you. And then afterwards, please send me anything as far as links to
Mhm.
direct people to you so that when we post the interview, they'll have an easy way just to get directly over to you.
Perfect. Perfect.
Okay. So my last question is, since we're talking about following your dreams and that journey and what it looks like, why is it important for people to have a dream or goal in their life? What has it done for you, and what do you feel? Why is it so important for others to have that as
Well, I think as Simon Sinek famously said, it always starts with why, right?
well?
Always what starts with why. It's the motivation. You know, who was it that said, without a dream, the people perish? A dream, a vision, a goal is what wakes you up in the morning, is what gets you out of bed, is what gets you out of those funkified feelings that I don't want to, I don't feel like it. Do I have to adult today? It's the vision that keeps you motivated and inspired to keep going. When when you don't feel like it, when your feelings are threatening to take you out, go back to the vision. Why am I doing this? What's important to me? What's important now?
I love that. If you're going back to the why is so important. You feel like this morning for me, like I'm not feeling inspired. But you know what? My vision is greater than my resistance. My vision is greater than my fear. And I know this is going to pass. So I'm just gonna move forward. And
And you got to talk to me. So what better
I
motivator
know,
is
right?
that? Come on, dude. Imagine if you didn't feel like it, what you would have missed out if you gave into those feelings.
I know, I know. And that's why
Best
I'm
day
here.
ever.
Best day, Eva.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
All right, well, tell us all how we can get a hold of you. Any special things that you want people to be aware of that you've got going on right now?
Yeah. Oh my God. Funny you should ask. I am launching a radio show, my own live radio show
What?
next week. I don't know when this airs, but let me just say April 19th. It's going to be Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Pacific. It's going to be live. You can call in, you can participate. I'm going to have amazing guest after amazing guest, and it's on the Voice America Influencers channel. I'll share that link with you to the show
Awesome.
page, but you can just go into voiceamerica.com and type in my name, and it'll bring you to my show. So that is the most exciting thing I have going on. And that show is called What's Important Now, Making Time for What Matters Most. And we're going to be talking about your health, your well-being, your businesses, your relationships, and how you can make a difference in the world of culturally inclusive safety for everyone. So it's going to have those major components to it. And so I'm really excited about that.
Congratulations. That's so
Oh,
awesome.
thank you. Thank you. And you know what I'm thinking as a free gift for anybody who's listening to this and watching this interview? We talked about my routines and my energy generating habits, I like to call them. What if I gave your audience all of my energy generating habits that I do throughout the day? Yes, so I would give them that, and that's easy. Go to evamedilek.com/energy. Whoop, whoop. and anybody who really wants to, know what it's like to work with me in high performance coaching, or, in cultural inclusivity and intelligence, or speaking about those subjects, just go to talkwitheva.com and let's have a chat about it.
That's awesome. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. And I'm also on, Instagram and LinkedIn and all the things.
Make sure you send me all the links. I'll make sure
Of
they're all
course.
posted so that people can find you easily and have access to you. I think you have so much to offer. And again, thank you so much for being part of this interview series. You're one of the first people I thought of. I literally thought of maybe like 5 to 6 people that I could bring into this series that I really wanted to hear from, have other people hear from. So thank you for
My pleasure. And thanks for having me. It's such an honor and so good to catch up with you too.
Yeah. Well, let's continue our conversation after we close everything down. And let me just stop recording and just say thank you to everyone for watching, and we will see you soon.